live on my screen. I see you live.
There you
So
go.
we'll call the meeting to order. Please, if there's any pecuniary interest, please disclose them at the appropriate time. Our YouTube link is number 3 on our agenda. We have no correspondence and no open delegations at this time. So first we'll go to part 6, which is site plan deposit, fee review and best practices. So maybe hand that over to Trevor and Phil, who would like to start with there. Trevor?
He's pointing to Phil.
Oh, okay.
Phil? Oh, Phil's the other way on my screen. Okay,
I know.
Phil.
He's up
Okay.
on mine.
Okay, yeah, so I can talk to that. So what I did I drafted a summary of the other municipalities within the county, just to get some ideas to how they deal with it. So both Walk and Point Edward do just a standard flat fee. Walk's is 10,000, Point Edwards are 5. And then, so the other ones, Plymouth Army, what they do is they do 100% of any development that takes place on municipal land. Let's say it's into a road lounge, those things. They take 100% the cost of development, and then it's 25% cost of everything else.
Okay.
And that'd be what their fees are. Lambton Shores deal with just any work being done on municipal lands or any facilities that are going to be assumed by the municipalities. Let's say that be a sidewalk or like a grass area, green space, those things. And then St. Clair's, they do 100% cost of all the improvements on site. And then a couple of the municipalities don't do anything. Brook, Elphiston, and Enniskillen, they don't necessarily have the formal site plan process in place. And then there's benefits for both. Like I think taking the flat fee is not much of an incentive for a developer to complete the work. But if it increases anything more, it may discourage development, especially like in St. Clair. Like if you're taking 100% of the cost, like of the improvements on the site, that might be like, I have the example on the second page, which I think their deposit was just shy of 120,000. So that might be a deterrent for some developers if they have to put that much money aside. But it also encourages them to actually complete the works. They don't have to have the municipality come in and use that. So,
Phil?
yes.
When I was looking at this, I was wondering if there's a kind of a mix of a hybrid, depending on that we maybe could look at that would be a flat fee for certain projects up to a certain point, or a flat fee for the beginning of the project, which is our review stage, all of that stuff, and maybe that's the 5 to 10. And then once you're past that stage, then the letter of credits go in place for the improvements that you're moving forward with. Does that make sense? Or what do others think? That's just a question, really.
It makes sense. I think what these site plan deposits are, these are part of the site plan agreement. So this be a letter of credit at that stage. So I would recommend having like almost base your required deposit off of some sort of percentage of what the improvements are going to be.
Okay.
As opposed to just having a flat fee and then trying to claim money back later. It's, I know when we were up in Yellowknife, we did 100% of on-site development. So, well, not 100%. So what we did is we factored in on our site plan agreements, we had a set amount for trees. So if you're planting trees, it's going in at like $200 per tree. For pavement, for cement, it's at what, $20 a square meter or something. So we had set value. So on their site plans, we would factor in they've got 200 trees, they've got so much square meters of cement, sidewalk, those things, and that's how we'd come up with the incentives. And then there is a payback in there. So after 2 years, you'd get 80% of the deposit and then 20% hold. The reason why we did it that way is because landscaping up there it's much harsh environment, so the trees didn't always survive. So we did 2 years, and then you have to wait another year for your other landscaping. So that might be a possibility, having like a partial payback option. If you do complete X amount of it, you would give back half that. So
Jackie?
Yeah, right now we're asking them to give us $10,000 to put away. Is that correct?
yes, yeah, that's the
Okay,
standard.
so if we were to do, say, a percentage of it, it would probably be more likely to be a line of credit, would it not? Than
Yes,
an
yeah.
actual set fee? Okay.
Just the letter of credit.
Yeah, a letter. Thank you.
Yeah, letter of credit.
I know the service, like Blue Water Power does that with their power installations. They will do the power installation, and then I think they hold a letter of credit, at least when we did ours, it was for 5 years based on the volume of usage. So that if your predicted volumes are close enough to what, you set up, then that all comes back. But if anything ever happened, that letter of credit would be initiated and their services would be paid for. So, or whatever they did. So, yeah. To that effect. So, yeah. Are we looking for a decision today, or is this just a thought, like just to start the discussion?
I think we should put
Sure.
together a report with maybe a recommendation from development. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
That makes sense to me. Is that what we're looking for? Okay. Is that something that we could, maybe we look out, like we're looking within our own, I guess this is really good what you've done, Phil, but it is only Lambton County.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea on, some of our close competitors in Middlesex, or, even like Lucan, that are trying to do similar things, or are a little further ahead in what, in their development than we are? Just wondering, is there any way we could attain those numbers and maybe look at a broader catchment area?
Yep.
Looking to be a good one, because I think they're learning from, they're doing basically, they've done what we're looking at doing, but they've made some mistakes. I know Kathy and I have talked about it, and she's like, we're learning as we go.
Yeah. So if we can move around some of those and see, because I do think development fees are important. We need to look at them now for sure. With the amount of development that we're having, especially these bigger developments that are being talked about, if we need to be prepared for those. So.
Yeah, I can definitely reach out to a couple of the neighboring communities like Chatham, Kent, or Middlesex, and see how they deal with it.
Yeah, Middlesex would be a critical one, and some of those areas, I think, like that, like even maybe
Bridges.
Mal Bridges, Lucan.
Stratford Caradoc's a good example.
Kamoka is
Stratford
another one
Caradoc.
too that's expanding quite quickly.
Yeah, because we're still a little further out than those areas, so we probably have to look at a little bit of a discount to what they're doing, but the costs of putting in infrastructure is similar all over. So
How does it work with, sorry, Chair, or
Yeah.
Amanda, you could.
I just want to differentiate that this is just, there's a bit of a difference from the development fee study,
Okay.
Chair White, than the site plan process. They both work together, but this focused on just the site plan portion of it. But I think looking to the east to Middlesex is a great idea. And should we take that as committee direction? That would be my.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know, maybe when we're asking if this is just site plan, which it is, do we need to ask them for a little more information so we have it for both studies in the future?
Well, the development fee charges study is underway right now with Watson and Associates. So we're hoping to hear back on a timeline to when we receive that soon. So I think we'll have that information soon enough.
They're doing that. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Yeah, go ahead, Jackie.
Sorry, through the chair. I was just wondering, like, is this similar to if you were doing a subdivision and you have a site plan for that subdivision and part of that is like a community park where the kids could go and play, like with some like equipment and things like that, or is that different?
So this is not development charges that will deal with parks. This is a site plan development process. If you think about, say, McCann's redeveloping vacant land, where their laneways, what their lot coverage, how their drainage will be dealt with, expansions at Delta, the Grogan Ford location, Tim Hortons, all of them went through a site plan development process. It is not the same as what a residential subdivision process would be, similar to the one we see at 425 Ontario Street. That when a process like that would go through a subdivision application, and therefore, if we had development fees, would be subject to those fees. So it's more like, think about a site plan as usually a single property redevelopment that is not residential. If that helps.
Good to know. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. The only residential that doesn't require a site plan is your low densities, your single family dwellings, your single detached dwellings, duplexes, semis, and accessory buildings. So
right.
If you're doing multi-residential and above, yes, multi-residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, all those words. Because that's why when the township city hall was going in, the Warwick Township City Hall, they had to go through the site plan process. Even though like it might be a municipal component in there, they still went through that same process.
Right. Okay. Good. Thank you. Well, we'll take it as direction and direct everyone involved to maybe do that research just of our local competitors in the area with municipalities. Thank you. Now, if there's no more discussion on that, maybe we'll move into camera, if that's okay with Amanda.
Yeah, I'll move to go.
Sure.
Yep. And we'll
just then say goodbye to our public viewing and thank you very much. Let me just